Hello, Walt from Sustainable Ramona here. Welcome back to Environmental News. On August 16th, the Climate Reality Project made two presentations to celebrate the first anniversary of the Inflation Reduction Act, also known as the IRA. As background, the Climate Reality Project has been led by former Vice President Al Gore. Eventually, the full presentation will be published, but in the meantime, Environmental News is publishing the essence of their webinar in two segments. 2A covers the impact of the law on the U.S. economy, and 2B covers provisions of the law from which consumers can benefit. So let's just jump into segment 2A. One more thought before we show the Climate Reality Project video. This article, which we posted in the Sustainable Ramona Facebook page a couple of weeks ago, had a discouraging message. Only about 30% of Americans are familiar with the Inflation Reduction Act. If you are concerned about the impact of climate change, then it will be worth your time to watch these videos and share them with your friends.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. So my name is Shabad Singh. I am the Legislative Advocacy Manager here at the Climate Reality Project. My job was to help pass what became the Inflation Reduction Act. And I did that with, just by asking all of our incredible climate reality leaders across the country to advocate with their members of Congress, in the forms of meetings and actions to get that passed. And so it was really grassroots pressure that helped us pass the most significant piece of climate legislation in our nation's history. And today, the 16th, is in fact the 1-year anniversary of this passage of this law. And the purpose of my presentation is going to be to give you a little taste of what this law is doing to our economy and ultimately to emissions in our fight against climate change. So you may know, but the law works by effectively putting money into clean energy and electrification in two main different ways. There's a production side of investment by the government and the consumer side. So on the production side, the government is really incentivizing industry to invest in these in the area of clean energy. And the purpose of the initial investment by the government was to draw more investment in from private capital. And in just 1 year, the $370 billion that the Inflation Reduction Act put into the clean energy transition, already $278 billion worth of capital has been committed by companies in 272 new clean energy projects, and that's in 44 states. So this is already impacting states across the country. And as you can see at the bottom here, the three biggest beneficiaries of this are Michigan, Georgia, and South Carolina. So you may have read about big, electric vehicle plants or solar manufacturing or other kinds of renewable manufacturing going up across the country, and the massive part that is thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act. The law has already created 170,600 new clean energy jobs. It's worth noting that clean energy jobs tend to be more likely to be union, and they tend to be better, healthier jobs than average. And as you can see here, Kansas, Georgia, and Michigan have benefited tremendously already from these investments. This is pretty exciting, which is that in the first half of 2023, companies in the US built more new solar generation than natural gas or any other fuel source. And so, thanks to that, the solar industry had its best first quarter in history at the beginning of this year. The capacity increase from Q1 of this year compared to the previous year is a 47% increase in solar capacity and production. And then finally, estimates show that the solar industry will likely triple by 2028. So solar is having a huge moment thanks to this law, and a lot of companies and governments are really investing in solar as the core of our power source for the transition. And most of the new capacity planned by developers is clean technology. And as you can see here, the leaders, the three leading technologies in terms of quantity being produced in America this year are all renewable sources. Now, you may recall that in the lead up to passage of the IRA, many groups did models of what the IRA could do to combat climate change and to reduce emissions. Previously, there was skepticism in many of these studies that with the bipartisan infrastructure law, which also passed last year, in 22, and the IRA, with those two laws together, we could reach almost 40% emissions reductions compared to 2005 levels by 2030. And now estimates are basically, renewed modeling is saying, in fact, at this rate, the rate at which this law is being taken up by industry and being implemented, we can actually meet that 40%. So that's a relatively, it seems like a marginal change, but the fact that these studies are becoming more and more confident that we're going to meet that 40% target is a good sign that we're moving in the right direction, and that, in fact, the US is really even more primed for this energy transition than was expected, and that industry is responding even more significantly. So I'll close my section here just by saying that this law is in effect. It's having a huge effect on our economy, and it is a huge help in the fight against climate change. That said, there are a lot of folks in America, kind of average folks, who may have some vague awareness that this law exists, and may have some vague awareness that there's something related to the climate in it. But what very few people are aware of is what our next guest is going to talk about, which is that the government is supplying really significant tax credits, and eventually later this year, rebates to help make our homes, to electrify our homes with clean technology and to eliminate gas from the household. And we're going to learn more about that. And so it's really important for all of us to stay involved and to spread the word about this. And we're going to, in just a bit after Cora speaks, we're going to tell you how you can